What's up, guys? So for today's daily vlog, I'm gonna get into the ins and out of vending for the first time at the Silverlake Flea. So if you're watching this and it is your first time attending the Silverlake Flea, here's, from my perspective, a couple things that will help you along the way. So step number one is basically not step number one, but basically how to prepare for the Silverlake Flea. Number one on that list is make sure to have a canopy. It's not necessary, like you don't have to have a 10 by 10 canopy, but it helps because if you have a 10 by 10 canopy, you set it up where your space is, so it'll be a 10 by 10 location in the parking lot, and you can set it up there. And the benefits of having a 10 by 10 tent is it gives you coverage from the sun. It kind of gives you like your own little space for like your store space, where your customers can come in, you can greet them. Yeah, I have seen a couple of people that don't use canopies. They like to just have it open, where people can walk in, and it kind of like a open little section, and it feels kind of like, yard sale or outdoor sale type vibe. So that's always a possibility. You don't have to have a canopy. Next thing is, you don't want to forget your inventory. Make sure to have all your inventory packed out from the night before. Make sure to have all your inventory packed out from the night before and totally prepped and ready to go, so that when you do get to the market, everything is there with you. I've seen people forget stuff and they have to Uber it to their place. Another thing that's really good for the market is to have weight on the legs of the canopy. Any weights is better than no weight. I don't know what Silverlake officially says as far as like what you should, like the weight, like how much the weight is supposed to weigh. But if you have weights, you can just put it at 4 weights to hold down your canopy. Sometimes it can get very windy. I've actually seen someone tent fly off the ground, go over the fence and land on the other side. So you don't want anything like that to happen. So make sure, and that doesn't really happen ever, but there is like a fluke moment where that could happen. So you want to make sure to lock those weights on your canopy, just so that you are protected and that you don't have to worry about your tent flying up or hitting anyone, because that would be the worst case scenario. So I would bring weights. Definitely, I would suggest bring water. A lot of times, if like you don't have someone coming to the market with you, and you're doing a solo setup, it it gets difficult to step away from your booth, because you don't want to be gone and then people come and take from your booth and you have no idea if someone stole from you or not. So you want to make sure to bring water, so that you don't have to run to the store and buy one. Definitely bring some snacks. It's a long day. I mean, if you start setting up at 7, and then you're breaking down at 3, that's a long time. From 7 to 3, like that's a long time. Or 3:30, so that's a long time to be there. Definitely bring some snacks, bring some food, and you can't go wrong there. Definitely bring a chair to sit in. I've seen this mistake a million times. People come to the market and they have to stand all day long because they don't have a chair to sit in. And for some people, that's okay. You like standing, typically when you do your market, you kind of get the little jitters, like, oh shoot, am I gonna sell well today? Are people gonna like my stuff? And you kind of want to pace back and forth. That's happened to me a million times. But from my experience, I hate standing for that long. Like, I'm not a stander. I had surgery on my legs and all that, and I'm not very good at standing. So I always make sure to have a chair. So if you guys, hate standing, make sure to bring a chair to sit in. For people that aren't of my pigment, definitely bring some sunscreen. Especially in the start of this, well, during the summer it gets pretty hot. You're gonna want to do sunscreen. You do have a tent, but sometimes it's hard if you have a lot of inventory to be in your tent while people are shopping. So a lot of people like to stand outside their tent or sit in front of their tent. And if you're sitting in front of your tent, you technically like you're under the sun and you can bake all day long. So definitely bring sunscreen. Um, Forms of payment, always make sure to have some kind of way to accept payment. Now, a lot of people at Silverlake that are buying prefer to use Venmo. So if you have Venmo, you are pretty much good. Sometimes there's a lot of tourists that come through that have cards that they want to use their card. So it's really good to have a card machine of some sort that to accept card payments. That's always really good to have. You don't need it technically, but you might miss one or two sales that come with cards that want to use card payment because some people are from out of the country. But Venmo is really good. A lot of people like to use Zelle too. Venmo and Zelle are the most popular form of payment at the Silverlake Flea. And then, you know, a couple of people like Cash App, PayPal, preferably have all the payment method. But if you just have Venmo and Zelle, you're pretty good. But I definitely would invest in a card reader or a Apple Pay, you know, tap machine, which you can't go wrong there. It's good to have, sometimes it's good to bring a little wagon to wheel things in and out and in and out of. Sometimes at Silver Lake Flea, parking's a little tricky, so some people will park on the side and of the market and then just wheel in and out their things. If you have a wagon, that's really helpful. Don't forget to bring bags to put your product in. Um, Customers really don't like buying things and having to hold on to them if they don't have a bag. Some customers come prepared with a bag to, you know, shop and put things in, but a lot of customers don't. So it's nice to have a bag. It can be a plastic bag, paper bag, it don't matter, as long as you have a bag to give them so that they don't have to awkwardly hold the item that they bought. um, Something that's really helpful, I don't have one but I really need to get one. If you're selling clothing, it's good to have a hanger organizer. So it's like a little thing like this, and I'll pin what one looks like, but it basically put your hangers in it. It organizes it so your hangers aren't thrown all over the place like mine is. I really need that. But in my opinion, those are a list of things that are really good to bring to the market, that I highly, highly, highly advise you to bring. Now, I'm gonna step. This is number two, is getting to the market. So if you've never been to the Silver Lake Flea before and this is your first time vending, it's a parking structure. It's a parking lot of a restaurant that's right next to it. When you drive up to the market, there will be at least two or three people there to check you in. For right now, at the current time, the that I'm making this, there is three people that check you in. So when you drive up to the front, there'll be three people, or you know, one of the three people will come up to you, ask you your name because they'll find you where you're at on the map, and then once they verify you on the map, they can check you in because you've, you know, booked your date, and then they will give you a location of where to park for where you're gonna set up. So they're gonna say, oh, follow me, and you just drive behind them, and they're gonna point to you where your spot is. When you get to that spot, you want to just take out your tent if you have one and set it up in that spot. And depend on where you are, you might be up against another tent, or maybe not, but chances are you are up against another tent. And yeah, so that's getting your spot. Once you're all set up, once you get your spot, before you even set up your tent, you want to unload everything out your car. There's a lot of different cars coming in, so sometimes it can get really tight. So the best thing is to get in there, unload everything, and drive out, because you don't want to get backed up with traffic in there, because it makes it tighter, and the chances of you maybe hitting another person's tent or hitting something is high. So we really need, at the market, people to come in and exit out as fast as they can, just to benefit you and to benefit the other vendors and the market, and just to have a great start to the day. Now, after you're done there, on Saturdays there's a parking lot. So if you pull in through the front exit, if you drive straight through the market, there's a back exit. If you drive straight across from that, there's a parking lot there for vendors. Once you park in, you can park in there, front or back of that parking lot on Saturdays. Perfectly fine. If you come later and the parking lot's taken, there's a lot of street parking early in the morning that's available, that you can feel free to park in. That's no problem at all. Now, the after like on Sundays, you're not allowed to park in the front section of that parking lot. So if you're there earlier and you get your spot, you can drive in and park in the back section of the parking lot, and that's totally fine. But once that's packed up, there's no other space in there for you to park, because on Sundays you cannot park in the front of that parking lot. So you want to exit the parking lot and drive and park on the street parking. All right, so there's a couple, once you're done parking for the day, there's a couple places there that you can go visit, as far as like stores. So there's a Vons around the corner that you can go to and get the water or snacks if you didn't get any. There's a McDonald's that you can grab food, a Starbucks that I go to literally every market. And there's two donut shops in the area that sell awesome food, so you can't go wrong. There's a Terramia around the corner if you like that. And then during the market on Saturdays only, there's a little pupusa lady on the side, and some food trucks that come in too, that sell food around the market. So those are things there to take note of, like if you do want to go to any of those places. After that, once you go back to your booth, you can take as long as you want to set up. There's no rush after you're there to set up, as far as I know. The rush is to get your car out and then at the end of the market is to get the parking lot cleared. So yeah, take your time, set up, make your booth look nice, presentable, really cute and good. And then shoppers will typically start shopping. If you're selling vintage or true vintage or things like that, there are shoppers that come early just to buy the best of the best stuff, that they collect, or store owners will come and buy so that they can go take it and resell. And those people come early. But if you're like me and I make my own stuff, my own clothing, my foot traffic comes later. So if it comes around 9, 10, 11 o'clock and you haven't made a sale yet, don't panic. Just remember that the normal customers start coming around that time, like you know, I would say 11, 12, 1 o'clock. Like that's when the normal customers start coming, and then that's when you'll start making more of the normal sales. um, yeah. And so yeah, and after all that is done, you're basically, you know, you at 3:30 is when you can start driving your car in. But there will be a person on site that will instruct you on, you know, what's a good time to start packing up and when to head out. But typically at 3:30 you can start bringing your car in to unload and get out of the market, um, because we need to have, or sorry, Silverlake needs to have the parking lot cleared, completely cleared by, you know, 4:25, 4:26. So um, if you are not packed up by 4:30, I mean, yeah, by 4:30 on the dot, they will take a picture of you, and send it into the owner of the market, and you could potentially lose your spot and get banned, because you aren't moving fast enough. So you want to make sure that, for now anyways, at the time that I'm giving this in 2023, May 2023, the time to wrap up at the market and be completely gone is for, you know, 26ish. And if you're still there, you risk, you know, not being able to come back to the market. You don't want to have that. So I would suggest start slowly packing things up, you know, around 3:15, you know, and maybe start, you know, be out of the market by like 4:15 on the dot, you know, just to not have to worry about any of that. But once you're done packing up, there'll be someone to show you exactly how to get out of the parking lot. And after that, you're good. That is everything that you need to know about the market from my perspective. I've been doing it for about a year now at Silverlake Flea every single weekend without fail. So this is my opinion. Silverlake doesn't pay me to do this or anything like that. I am just taking this upon myself. I think when I first started, it would have been nice to have someone walk me through step by step of what the process is like. And so I'm making this video so that you guys can know, you know, what the step-by-step process is to doing a market like the Silverlake Flea, or to doing the Silverlake Flea market. And if you've seen this video and you meet me at the market, you want to say hi, say what's up, I'm a really friendly guy. I love to meet new people, and you know, that's awesome. And if you have any questions when you're there, ask me. I will welcome you with a smile and say, hey, welcome to the market. And yeah, check out my stuff too. All right guys, take care, good luck with your first market, and looking forward to see ya.